Number 5 kind of leads to a question that was tweeted in by A.K. Schaefer. What's the best way to build a strong client base? Networking? So, you talked about that thought leadership in your niche. Is that a way that you built your client base by being the thought leader that people come in? And what are some other ways to really build a strong client base?
Go ahead. I'll mention one. Each of you people are thinking about a specific business in a specific field. In that field, there is at least one trade association and at least one trade publication that's extremely important. In our field, there are probably the Wall Street Journal is the most important. And if you can author an article, particularly if it's provocative and particularly if it's controversial about the business that you're trying to start, perhaps attacking the other parts of that. I find that attacking is one of the best ways to be known. It's the story of David and Goliath. The small guy has to really fight the more conservative institutions, and a wonderful way of doing that is through an article or through being interviewed by a trade association publication. So you ought to look into what are the trade associations, what are the trade publications, because if you get known there, that's a damn good way to start.
I'll just expand on some of Ted's thoughts here. You're AK there, yes? Okay, good. Thank you for tweeting that in. More tweets. It's good. Ask questions, and we'll get to more of that, I think, Bruce, right? Yep. Okay. So the reason thought leadership is important is it creates the right environment for sales. For someone to hire you, they're taking a risk because either their boss or their board or their colleagues, if they hire your firm or they hire you and it doesn't work out, they kind of look like an idiot and they might be fired. Or, some bad things happen when people make mistakes and hiring firms and that sort of thing. So if you obtain a position of thought leadership, it takes away some of the risk for them. They say, gosh, this firm is a safe choice. This is kind of like a layup in terms of a decision for us because, they've done this for 50 other places like us. I see them at these conferences that I go to all the time. I read about stuff that they do. This is a safe choice. So it doesn't, it sets the right environment for sales. So that's number one. The second part is the selling part, which Ted has done so marvelously over his career, and I think he sort of hit upon it, is, the key is to think like the client. You have to, the most important rule that I've learned in sales is to put yourself in the prospective client's shoes. And the better you can understand them, the more you can understand their challenges, the more likely you are to craft a program and create a relationship with them that's going to make it a comfortable decision to hire you. So I think the combined of the thought leadership, but then also being a good salesperson by sort of understanding their situation are the two most important things, I would say.
I'd add a little extra to that. If you can come up with an idea when you're dealing with a client, and the client can think it's his or her idea, that's much, much better. Many salespeople, when they're trying to sell their ideas, they're selling themselves, and their ego becomes involved. What you really want to do is ride on the ego of your clients, of your customers, because if they feel it's their idea and they came up with it, it's a heck of a lot better than you boasting about yourself. So I think that's important.
And I think, two things that were mentioned, selling and luck. Just wanted to mention selling. I was at a conference of university with the president of the National Venture Capital Association. All these students were asking questions about, landing a job in venture capital and, getting involved in that field. And he made the point, again, he's the president of the trade association, said, I really don't understand why so many students are interested in venture capital. It's going to be extremely hard to get venture capital as a entrepreneur. Less than 0.4% of startups receive institutional venture capital. That's going to be next to impossible for you to get a job in venture capital. That you need a golden resume, a golden Rolodex, a golden bank account. They're very small. And I don't understand why more schools aren't focused on selling and sales management, because that's what it really takes to get a business started. And, I noticed in classes, is people are very interested in taking classes, again, around something related to high finance, venture capital, strategy, marketing, because they're kind of sexy and exciting, but sales is the lifeblood of every organization. I was giving a talk overseas, and when the first person asked, how many of you people here are entrepreneurs? 95% of the hands went up. And a second speaker asked, how many people are you in the audience are involved in selling? And only like 2 hands went up out of 100. I got up, I'm like, you all said you're entrepreneurs, but only 2 of you are selling. What do you do, if you're an entrepreneur? But, you have to sell. And on luck, because they're very important. It's funny, if I put a question on an exam about, things that are important in luck, everyone always assumes that's the question that's wrong. But it's not. But luck isn't just, hoping, standing around. One of my favorite entrepreneurs, who's not a business entrepreneur, he's a professor at Carnegie Mellon University, Randy Pausch, who wrote the story, The Last Lecture. I don't know if you've heard about it. But he talked about luck, and he described luck as where preparation meets opportunity. And you work hard and you find those opportunities. They don't just fall like manna from the sky. And someone else, the harder I work, the luckier I get. So I think there were some great lessons.